Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Discord, diaspora split over letter criticizing the government. 3 killed in St. Thomas in the last 24 hours. And later in sports, reggae boy on target in Saudi Pro League. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shane Masters and here are the details. There seems to be a rift in the diaspora following a letter which was written by Chairman of the Jamaica Diaspora Crime Intervention and Prevention Task Force, Dr. Rupert Francis. The letter criticizes the government on a number of issues, but the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council is distancing itself from the document. More in this report. Was it indeed a diaspora effort or not? That's the question being asked following the position of the Global Jamaica Diaspora Council, who has said it is not in support of the letter written by Dr. Rupert Francis. The position of the Diaspora Council has been hailed by State Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Orlando Terrelong. He says the letter written by Dr. Francis does not represent the nature of dialogue and relationship the Jamaican government maintains with the diaspora via the council.
There is that degree of interaction. And so the letter that was written in response from the council, I thought the letter was most appropriate, in terms of disassociating the council from the content of the letter written by Mr. Francis, and also to indicate clearly that this did not come from us, and we really don't know on whose behalf Mr. Francis speaks.
The letter dated December 27, which was sent to Jamaica's ambassador to the United States, Andrew Marks, outlines grave concerns about the increasing state of public corruption in Jamaica, the high level of violent crime, failure to provide promised service delivery, unfulfilled promises to the diaspora regarding its involvement in the political process, and the legal defense that diaspora members do not have standing to sue the government. Mr. Terrelong says more clarity is required in relation to the claim about the government's failure to provide promised service delivery.
I saw the letter, and the letter did not indicate what these failed service deliveries are, so I am unable to comment on that. What I will say is that the government has certainly promised growth and prosperity, and Jamaica is in fact experiencing unprecedented growth and prosperity.
As for the issues relating to crime, Mr. Terrelong says those are being addressed with significant investments in the security force.
There are many persons in the diaspora who recognize that billions of dollars have been spent to buy speedboats and new ships to combat the drugs for gun trade and to protect our borders. You're talking about security cameras across many of our highways and byways. You're also talking about more police officers being trained. You're talking about increased use of technology.
3 persons were killed in St. Thomas over the last 24 hours, among them a couple who was heading home. Halshane Burke reports.
It was a busy 24 hours for the St. Thomas police, as hoodlums wreaked havoc in the parish on Thursday. In the first incident, a man who was implicated in murder and shooting incidents in the parish was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting about 3:35 in the afternoon. He is 40-year-old Kemar Burton, a farmer of Easington in the parish. According to reports, he was walking on the compound main road in Easington when a car drove up and stopped beside him. The occupants of the car engaged him in conversation before shooting him several times to the upper body. He died at the scene. Commanding officer for the parish, Superintendent Alison Byfield, says Mr. Burton was known to the police for criminal activities in the parish.
He was a person of interest in a murder committed in July of this year. We took him into custody. He was questioned and released because we didn't have enough evidence to tie him to that murder. But he has come under the radar of the police from time and time again for brandishing firearm in the area of Easington. So the police is well aware of him. We are appealing to persons who would have witnessed the murder of Burton to provide information to the police, so we can seek out the perpetrator or perpetrators of this murder.
Hours later, the cops were called to the scene of a double murder in Yalas. It's reported that shortly before 8 o'clock, residents were at a wake when loud explosions were heard. Checks were made and the couple was found lying in the driveway near their house in Newlands with bullet wounds. These bring to 24 the number of murders committed in the parish since the start of the year. Hal Shane Burke, TVJ News.
The St. Elizabeth police are on high alert as criminals are threatening to reprise the death of two of their gang members. The thieves were killed as they tried to rob a business operator at gunpoint recently. Jamila Maitland reports.
There's a strong warning this afternoon for the St. Elizabeth Police and the wider Area 3 Police Division to be on the alert for reprisal attacks. This comes following the shooting death of two robbers who were killed by a licensed firearm holder in Trial Square, St. Elizabeth on Christmas Eve. The men were in the process of robbing the bar when they were challenged by the licensed firearm holder and subsequently met their demise. It's now understood that cronies of the deceased men, Christophine Garden and Chevon Hall, are threatening reprisal attacks. The police are therefore urging its members, especially in St. Elizabeth, to be extra vigilant. Other police measures include increasing stop and search along roadways, targeted operations, and the possible relocation of persons who were present at the robbery. In the meantime, the police believe there was a third suspect in the attack. They're urging Romario Knight, also known as Maro, to turn himself into the nearest police station. According to a police statement, he frequents the areas of Ridge, Trial, Overhill, and Junction in St. Elizabeth, Effortville, Buckshaven, and Bucks Common in Clarendon, and Allison, Hanbury, and Greenville in Manchester. The police say the Red Square Outer Road gang to which these men belong has been linked to several reprisals and violent crimes. The St. Elizabeth police also say the men have strong criminal connections in neighboring Manchester. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
Two men are in custody following the abduction of a St. Catherine businessman Thursday night. The man was abducted from Brunswick Avenue by men from Torspen and a ransom demanded. The matter was reported to the police. The cops say an operation was then launched in Tors Meadows where they encountered armed resistance. The gun battle has left one man dead. He has not yet been identified. The businessman was found safe. The police are urging anyone with additional information to come forward to assist in the ongoing investigation. Persons can call Crime Stop at 311 or the Spanish Town Police at 876-984-2305. And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us, more stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Stakeholders are complaining of a shortage of labor that is impacting the agriculture sector. It has widened the talk of possibly importing workers. However, at least one sector player believes Jamaican farms couldn't attract international labor, even if we tried.
There is more debate about the possible importation of labor, this time for the country's agriculture sector. Speaking with the Gleaner, head of the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, Winston Simpson, says that labor shortages for farms have reached a critical tipping point. He told the Gleaner that labor is a serious issue as farms cannot get anyone to work. He noted that for some of Jamaica's farms, the terrain cannot be mechanized. Jamaica Agricultural Society boss Lenworth Fulton says while the concern is valid, importing labor for our primitive agricultural practices does not make sense.
So yes, we need labor, but I don't think it's that for agriculture. We can answer that by importing labor. Where are you going to put them and what are you going to pay? We have been, when we talk about the importation of labor, it made me tremble because it was the genesis of importation of labor that caused slavery. Do we have barracks to put them in? Do we have a system to give them work permit so that they are not disadvantaged here?
Mr. Fulton further noted that the country's agricultural sector also needs significant improvements.
We need to look on our farms, many of them too small. So there is an opportunity for the government to use their agri-park concept and their AIC and their other land agencies to make land of commercial size available to our farmers so that they can be modernized.
He also bemoaned the lack of financial assistance for the sector, noting that, unlike other sectors, it's harder for farmers to get loans.
Farmers can't continue to farm without they have access to loan and financial assistance. I'm not talking about government gifts, because we cannot run an economy by giving away the tax dollar to any subsector. It must come in the form of a loan that you can work and take back. If not, we are going back in the same cubbyhole that we were in FinSac, and we don't want to go back there.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
And it's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica spent 7.5% more on the importation of consumer goods at the end of August. Statin says the increase was mainly due to a 4.4% growth in the cost to bring in food and beverages, mainly for household consumption. The import of capital goods, excluding motor cars, was up 20.8%. 34.5% more money was spent on imports related to transport equipment. The import of passenger motor vehicles was the major contributing factor to the increase. It was valued at $282 million, an increase of 46.8%. Further afield, Boeing is urging airlines to inspect all 737 MAX airplanes for possible loose or missing parts. On Thursday, the Federal Aviation Administration (FAA) said inspections involve looking for a possible loose bolt in the rudder control system. The FAA says the move stems from incidents on two separate aircraft, one involving a missing nut, the other a loose nut. According to the FAA, the inspection takes about 2 hours. The 737 MAX was previously grounded for nearly 2 years after 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Hal Shane Burke.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew has welcomed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, signed between his government and US-based Southern University to help develop the agricultural sector in the region. The MOU aims to increase food security and reduce agricultural imports with Southern University as a key partner. The Southern University Agriculture Research and Extension Center will provide advisory services to the ministry, enhancing farming knowledge and skills. The partnership will strengthen the two cultures, recognizing their similarities and celebrating their unique capabilities. The government and Southern University anticipate significant advancement in agriculture and overall development of St. Kitts and Nevis. On the international scene, thousands of Gaza Strip civilians have surrounded a relief aid convoy at a UN center in the Al-Zatoun neighborhood, demanding aid. The convoy, consisting of 2 trucks, is distributing aid just outside the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FOA, has expressed concern over the worsening food security situation in the Gaza Strip, with approximately 2.2 million residents facing acute hunger. And a Panamanian cargo ship was struck by a mine in the Black Sea while en route to a Danube port to load grain. The ship lost speed and control, causing a fire on the top deck. 2 sailors were injured. One was treated on the spot and the other taken to a hospital nearby. Tugboats have been deployed to bring the vessel to port. Ukraine's Southern Defense Forces are ensuring civilian navigation safely amid dense enemy mining, as stormy weather often increases mine danger. Russia has continued to attack Ukraine's ports and grain infrastructure, and all cargo ships heading to Ukraine are considered potential military targets. And that's your regional and international news. I'm Herman Green.
And we head to a quick break. When we come back, Jermaine Brown will have your midday sports report.